Hello and welcome to the Quever channel. I'm Jason, your host. Let's talk about monetization, the wrong way to do it and the right way to do it. The wrong way to do it is what Ubisoft, Activision, Electronic Arts and a few other companies and Rockstar are doing. This is monetization is used to squeeze you as consumers to get more money out of you to take out of the game and give to the shareholders, to give to the company. It is money that goes outside the system. It gets given to people who aren't even fucking gamers, and you don't see any benefits from it. That's the wrong way. And they all do it. Loot boxes, EA games, Battlefield, Call of Duty, the Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed games, they all monetize in what I would class as the wrong way. There's other companies that do it, but this is the main thing. Because it is taking money from you as a consumer, in some ways giving you content that you should have had from the start, and they're just using it to try and drain you to get as much out of the bottle. Now, I am not against a company supporting itself and making a profit. I am not against that in any way, shape, or form. They have to do that. And if you're going to have a game that's going to be on the service for a long time, you've got to pay for tech for support. You've got to pay for everything like that. And the amount you pay for the game at the start only usually lasts about a year or two. So if you want the game to last longer than a year or two, then you need some kind of monetization, sometimes a kind of long-term thing that will help the game survive. So I am not against monetization. I think monetization has to happen in any game, but it needs to be done right. A lot of this thing to do with this trying to stop people killing games off and all that kind of thing, they looked at it from the wrong angle. It shouldn't have been about that, especially when you're talking about MMOs or games as a service and stuff like that. You need to look at it as a different way. Imagine a game. Imagine this. Let's do two scenarios. No, two scenarios, because two scenarios. We only need two. First scenario is Battlefield. Now imagine if there hadn't been Battlefield 3, 4, 5, 6. Imagine if you only had Battlefield 1 and that it had monetization, not pay to win. Pay to win monetization is the worst thing out there. But cosmetics, things to make your character look different, all these kind of things to make your guns look different. If you're going to have something that improves your character in a very physical sense, then you've got to create a system where the person can do it either in-game, or if their time's more valuable, they buy it. So if you're going to have that, you've got to make sure that the very same ability can be done without spending money, real life money. You've got to balance that. But imagine if, say, Battlefield 1, instead of seeing it as a yearly game release or 2 yearly game release, what if all that money from monetization went back into the game, into creating DLC, into creating expansions, into creating different versions of the game that were connected? Imagine if your character, just like an MMO, your character stayed with that game, that each time the game came out, you didn't have to create a new character, that your character from 5, 10, 15 fucking years ago in a game was still there. And you had history and you had all those wars that you had done and all the achievements and every battle and every new front that happened and opened up, it would allow for expansions into space, expansions into other theatres, expansions into new wars and that. But you would be taking your crew would have 10 fucking 15 years of real history. And you may think, oh, that's not possible. And then let's look at Assassin's Creed. Imagine if Assassin's Creed had been built on that same ethos, that the first Assassin's Creed game evolved and was supported and added to, and new mechanics came out, but you were the same fucking person in it. That you had all that back history in your character. Now you may think, that's not possible, you can't do that. Well, let's take two examples that have actually fucking done it. Star Trek Online and Warframe. Now, Star Trek Online didn't do as well. They chose a different direction. But so let's look at that. Star Trek Online has monetization. It's free to play. It started out as a pay per month, but it's switched to a free to play model early in its life, and came up with this idea of Zen, where you could buy stuff out of game in the market, new ships and all this kind of thing. But most of what you could get out of the game, you could get in by putting the work in. You could convert dilithium into Zen and Zen into dilithium, which was two different things, and you could actually go. And the money from that, a lot of the money from the game went into hiring voice actors from the TV shows, went into creating new content. There is thousands of hours of content in Star Trek Online, and that game came out in 2009. And even though I wish about 6 years ago they had, when it was still at a really high level amount of people playing, they had updated the engine, because one of the reasons I've noticed that one of the only reasons people say to me, oh, I'm not playing that game, is because it doesn't look good enough. The engine has dated a lot, unfortunately. For people like me, it doesn't matter. But to get new people in, you have to have a bit of the shiny, and the engine is old. If they had evolved the engine, done major updates to the engine a few years ago, but apart from that, they still give out new content. They still create new stuff for us. There is so much different things that go on there. There's always something to do. And even if there's a ship that's only available in the real world money store, well, even that is possible for someone who isn't spending any money, because every year they have this campaign arc, which includes lots of events. You've seen me playing them. You go in, you log in for like 10-15 minutes, you do one mission a day, and to complete each part of the arc, and you gain points. And when you've got a certain amount of points, and we're coming up to the point where I'll have the full amount, and when you do that, you gain access to 2 tokens that will allow you to buy for 0 2 store ships. So 2 of the ships from the store, any 2 ships that are available on the store for a certain amount, you can just buy them with these tokens. It also gives you, I think it's an infinity token, which allows you to have any one of the ships out of the actual infinity loot boxes that you usually would unlock with real life money keys. So you can go through there and pick something that you really want out of those. A large amount of dilithium and Kobe's, and there's the Kobe store crystals that you can use. I believe it's Kobe, I'm not sure. But the thing is, if you just log in for 15 minutes a day and do this one daily, this builds up over time. So even the stuff that would normally be paywalled is available to you. That's the right kind of monetization. They've invested a lot of the money back in. They've had all the actors from the Star Trek series come and revise their roles. And it's really nice as a fan for Star Trek to see all of that. And so you can play it for has me. I've got a lifetime subscription, and that was worth it to me because I get Zen every month and so on. But there's nothing really locked away from everyone else who plays, and you just have to put the time in if you don't want to put the money in. Now, the very best of this model I've ever seen is Warframe. You wouldn't think when watching a Warframe video that that game is from 2013. They've updated the engine. They've added new effects. They've made it so that it still looks fucking well good in 2025. That's 12 years ago, and you've got your same character all the way through it. You've got the history all the way from back there. You've got your achievements and equipment and everything, and they've created massive new expansions and quest lines and new mechanics and that, which fucking well proves, if you go back to what a Warframe originally was and how it looked back then. I was back in 2013. I saw it the way it was, where you didn't even have a ship. You just sat on the map of the solar system and could pick missions. That was the game. There wasn't that many different things to do, and there wasn't as many different mechanics or types of missions and so on. I remember when they first introduced the survival missions and so on. But they invested the money back in the game. And if you look back at the 2013 version compared to now, the amount of massively different... They've had fucking time travel. Warframe 1999, it's all in the same fucking thing. It's all... You go through all these different quest lines. I'm still going through them and catching up with all of them. And they each build in a new mechanic, a new piece of lore, a new add-on to the system. And the nice thing about the Warframe system is this: the platinum that you can buy for real world money to buy items outside of game for in-game, you can make platinum in-game. You can sell items that you've found in missions on the trade system for platinum, and therefore anything that you can buy with platinum by spending your own money, if you want to, if your time is worth more to you than the actual money, you have the choice. But if you want to do those same things, and never spend one bit of money on it, you can do it. You can do the work. And that's wonderful. That is a wonderful thing, because you are supporting the game, you are part of the system, and this version of monetization shows that if you put the money back in the game, you can evolve a game from 2013 to a game that still looks amazing in 2025. With new mechanics, this game never gets stale, never gets old. Just imagine if something like Call of Duty had done the same, instead of shifting most of the money out to shareholders. See, that's the thing. Monetization should be used to keep a game going. Any game has to do it. Downloadable content, expansions. There's a point in every single game's life where the company that made it is running at a loss if they try to keep it going and supporting it, and tech support and whatever, and patches and that. All of it costs money. And so monetization isn't going anywhere, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. I will never support EA's version of monetization or Ubisoft's version of monetization. I will not support any kind of monetization that takes money away from the game, that is there just to bleed you dry. but I will pay for balloons. Balloons is another example. Tower defense, balloons. 6. I have actually bought monkey books in there, not because I have to, but because to pay a bit back to the game. I only paid like £6 for the game when I first bought it, and I got like hundreds of hours on it. So I don't mind putting money back into it now and then, just to help them out, because they are awesome. And the same goes, I would never put money into a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game because I've paid for the game. I should get everything else fucking okay, at least to start with. But they start nickel and diming you from day one. So there's a right way to monetize and there's a wrong way. And we know what... I will never buy a Rockstar game anymore. I love GTA. But you've got to remember, when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, we were fucking promised single player expansions for it, and we never got it. They knew where the money was, and they followed that money stream. And unfortunately, a lot of other companies say, "Oh, they're making so many billions a year. Ooh, we'll get some of that. We'll do that to our players." So no, I won't be buying GTA 6. I don't like their monetization model and their treatment of players and their breaking of promises. Sorry. But there is a right way to do it. Companies that monetize to survive, to support a game that players still want to play, and evolve that game and take that game into the future so that you can have and play the game that you love for years and years and years. That's the right way to monetization. That's the right reason to monetize. So this is Jason for the Quiver channel. I hope you're having a good day.